Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here. And remember the Subspecies movies? Don't all raise your hands at once. Today we're talking about all the Subspecies movies, and we're going to figure out what is the worst Subspecies movie today on Hack the Movies. Before we get on with the show, I just want to let you all know that on patreon.com/hackthemovies, there is a Friday the 13th commentary track album out right now. That's right, I got together with some of your favorites and I did commentary tracks for all 12 Friday the 13th movies. I did part 1 with Crystal Quinn, part 2 with Frank, part 3 with Tim from Tapes from the Crypt, part 4 with Casey, part 5 with Mint Salad, part 6 with Joe and Sean from Movie Dumpster, part 7 with Official Joey C, part 8 with Captain Boomies, Jason Goes to Hell with Monica, Jason X with Cecil from The Horror Show, Freddy vs. Jason with Kaylee from Once Over with Kaylee, and the Friday the 13th remake with Johanna. That is available now at the $5 and $10 tiers on Patreon. If you don't want to pledge, but you still want to listen to these tracks, you could purchase the album without having to pledge. Oh, I threw in 2 bonus tracks that were camp slasher themed. There's The Burning that I did with Sarah, and Sleepaway Camp that I did with Lauren. So pledge today or just purchase the album at patreon.com/hackthemovies and have a happy Friday the 13th. Hello, Lena.
Hi, Tony.
How are you?
I am very, very excited to be doing this.
So you remember the Subspecies movie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I think I forget whose idea this was, but
One of our very first conversations, I said, "Oh yeah, I do vampire stuff," and you said, "Have you heard of Subspecies?" And I said, "Did we just become best friends?"
yes. Yeah, Subspecies. This comes from the good people at Full Moon and Charles Band and director Ted
Nicolau.
What is it?
Nicolau.
Nicolau. This is when Full Moon was going really hard on their direct-to-video stuff. When did you first discover Subspecies?
So I'm the oldest of 5.
Yes.
And if we were all good and my mom had a little extra money, she would take us all to Blockbuster on a Friday night. Yeah. And each one of us got to pick a movie. And that's when you could keep it for a week. But you could only choose from the inside of the store because along the wall was new releases and they were $3 and it was only like a day. Yeah. So I would always beeline to the horror section and I grabbed Subspecies because all I knew was vampire and the people that did Puppet Master.
Yes.
So I'm like, I'll check it out. In the week that I had it, I probably watched it an unhealthy amount of times. And I want to say I was in middle school, high school, probably middle school. Okay. Probably too young.
Yeah. My first exposure, I believe, I want to say it was Sci-Fi Channel. Some channel was marathoning them.
Okay.
And I think my family, we might have had like it on at like the tail end of the first one. And then we're like, oh, that guy's funny looking. We thought the vampire was cool looking and everything. And then we watched all of the second one. And I think, if I remember right, I think it was my aunt and my cousins were there and they had to leave. But then like we all got real invested because the second one ends on a cliffhanger and the third one was playing next. And we're like, nah, I kind of want to see how it ends. So we like watched, I believe, the first 3. I don't know the fourth one, depending when we watched this in the 90s. I don't know when the fourth one would have been on at that point. But yeah, I watched them again in college, but I had not seen them since until we did this. But yeah, I remember the 2 and 3 I remember a lot of, so I'm excited to talk about those. But yeah, Subspecies went away for a while.
Yes.
And a few years ago, they did a part 5. They thought they needed to do a part 5, so the franchise is back. And I figure, you know what, let's finally go through all of these movies starring the great, what's his name? Anders Hove, who I met.
You did?
Years ago. I have a picture of him. Here's me with Anders Hove. And I remember I took the picture with him and I asked if I could do an interview and he went, no! like real aggressively. Like I was like, oh.
And how old were you?
At that point, I was 22 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I was just like, oh, okay. A simple no would have been fine. I don't think you had to do it so aggressively.
Yeah.
But all right.
Maybe it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into the series. Let's just dive into Subspecies. I'm going to read the first synopsis here.
I'm so excited.
Three students studying the folklore of Transylvania uncover more than they anticipated when they stumble upon a clan of vampires ruled by the monstrous Radu. The sadistic vampire becomes obsessed with making them his fledglings. Pause. If you're going to watch all 5 Subspecies movies.
Especially in a row.
Yes. Oh, and the spinoff, which I will be doing on Lena's channel. We're not including it for this one, but we are going to mention it when part 4 comes around. And apparently there's another spinoff that we didn't know about in time. You're going to hear the words fletchling, bloodstone, birthright, Vladislas, over and over and over and over and over and over again. Do not drink anytime they say fledgling, bloodstone, Vladislas, or birthright. You will die.
Yeah.
Anyway, the sadistic vampire becomes obsessed with making them his fledglings and pursues them relentlessly, wielding the power of the Bloodstone, a relic that drips the blood of the saints. Radu and his subspecies, a pack of small, sinister creatures.
Okay, so you're right.
Yeah, give the girls a true understanding of the local mythology. Well, they left a lot out of that synopsis. There's a little bit more to it than that.
The word obsessed, too, I think could be stronger.
Yeah, so yeah, basically that's the story. Radu, he looks like a methed out Count Orlok with long hair.
Mm-hmm. That's a good way to describe it.
Honestly, I really think the new Nosferatu really took a lot from this performance. The wheezing, the breathing, the methed out look.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Skarsgård has seen these movies.
Yeah.
And he expected no one to remember them for his performance. Yeah, so when I put this on the other day to watch it for the first time in years, I was like, I wonder how long it takes for Radu to show up in this movie. And it opens up with, what's his face from Phantasm?
Angus Scrimm,
Angus
who played
Scrimm.
the tall man.
Yes, he is
the king of the vampires.
Yes. And he's just hanging out in his lair, drinking from the Bloodstone. Mm-hmm. And then Radu just walks into frame. It's his big, giant fingers first, and then he just and it looks completely ridiculous. Like he's lit too much, and then he's talking, Father. Hold on. hold on. The Bloodstone is my birthright.
Yes, exactly. And then kills his father.
Luckily, I like that this comes into play multiple times. His father has a cage that hangs up on the ceiling.
That no one saw.
No one ever thinks to look up. And he just assumed that Radu would stand in the right place to trap him. Mm-hmm. So many people are conveniently standing in that right place.
Correct. Yes.
I wonder if they have trouble. They're like, listen, can you come here, but not too much further? Yes. I want you to stand right there.
I like to think that the king of vampires is very observant, and he caught on that a lot of people just stopped right there.
Yeah.
And then he installed the cage.
Got you.
So he locks his son into the cage.
And he breaks his fingers off, and then that's when we get the subspecies.
Yes.
Spoiler. Unlike Puppet Master or Demonic Toys or whatever, any other one that they did, mm-hmm. Full Moon did a lot of tiny stop motion monsters. Mm-hmm. These are a mixture of stop motion and rod puppets. Mm-hmm. I think this was early on, so they're very low budget. They're not in the movie much, but the movie is. These movies are not about the subspecies to the point they're not even in the last two. So they should have just called him Radu at that point. But yeah, they're little demons that do
right. So he breaks off his fingers, the tips of his fingers.
Yeah.
They hit the ground and melt and then grow up into these little minions.
Yeah.
That run, pull the lever, raise the cage.
And the king does nothing to stop them.
Nope.
He just watches it.
Correct.
And you know what? He looks shocked, and I'm like, shouldn't he be able to do it too? But as these movies go on, we learn that Radu is more than a vampire.
He's half witch.
Yes. So yeah, he kills his father with the demon dagger thing. And now he's king of the vampires, but now he has to deal with his younger brother, Stefan.
But first he snatches the Bloodstone.
Yes, yeah. He gets the Bloodstone.
He gets the Bloodstone.
And he has to protect it from Stefan, who is the younger brother from a mortal mother.
Correct.
So now there's going to be a power struggle between it.
Yes.
But most of the movie is going to be about Radu and Stefan lusting after one girl.
Right. So when we're introduced to Stefan, so the two, here are the three girls, the two Americans who have come into Romania to meet up with their fellow grad student who's from Romania, Mara.
Yeah.
And they are going to study the local history of this Transylvanian fort. And when they go to stay in the fort, this historical fort, there's one other person staying there, a grad student from America who's studying the nightlife of animals and is very handsome and charming. Stefan. And then it's revealed that's Radu's brother.
Yes, his younger brother, who the dad liked more.
Yes. But by the time they realize he's a vampire, Michelle has already fallen in love. Instant love.
Yes, Michelle falls in love pretty quick. Michelle is played by, I don't know. She'll be replaced by Denise Duff, I think, for the rest of the series.
Correct.
So I think this movie's a lot of fun. This movie has a lot of fun minor characters. There's the old gypsy lady who's telling the history of the vampire. You want to let us know the history of the vampires in this one? So the
history is that in the 1400s, led by Vlad Tepes, the local Transylvanian villagers are trying to fight off the Turks who are taking over Transylvania. And this is where they tried to tie in actual history, and I applaud them for that. And there was a standoff at this historical fort where the girls are staying, and they got down to like 100 villagers who were hiding out in this fort, knowing that thousands of Turks were surrounding the fort, and they knew eventually the Turks are going to come in and kill us, but we're going to hold off for as long as possible. When they're down to 100 people, time goes by, they're starving, they have no water, so a brave man says, I'm going to go out and see why we haven't been killed yet. And they go out and all of the Turks are dead. So the Transylvanian villagers said, the vampires saved us.
Yes.
So
which
they
might have been an accident. I think the vampires like, let's eat all those guys. There's blood everywhere.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of blood in the air, and they were like sharks. They're like, ah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that's our Vlad tie-in.
Yeah.
And so the villagers say, well, because you saved us, then we want you to stay in this old castle, which belonged to them anyways. It was the Władysław castle.
Yeah. So it kind of worked out.
So there was like a truce, but the problem is that the vampires were still coming and feeding on the villagers. So there was a local man who knew of the Bloodstone, which was an artifact in Rome. That was a glass stone that created or held the blood of the saints, and it was forever replenishing.
Yes.
Why he needed that, I don't know. No. So the local Romani man, he goes and he steals the Bloodstone from the Vatican, brings it to the king of the vampires and says, I'm going to give you this so you don't have to feed on us anymore. Yeah. And since that time, no one in the village has been attacked.
Yes.
So now that the king is dead, the pact is off.
Yeah.
Because Radu does not
We
kill.
learned Radu's been going around killing on his own, and we will learn about some of his adventures later on. But yeah, so the blood is back on the menu.
Correct.
In Transylvania.
Correct.
Also, he is Radu. He is not Radu the Handsome. It is a reference to Radu the
brother.
Handsome.
Yes.
But no, he is different Radu.
Oh, yeah.
He's Nosferatu. Oh, fuck you.
How long?
Fuck you. You laughed so hard when I said that the first time.
You know why I laughed? Because whenever you say Nosferatu, you say Nosferatu. So it actually worked this time. I'm like, that's what you've been calling him the whole time anyways.
I really want to Photoshop him into the poster.
Do it.
Honestly, if the fifth one came out like a year or two later, they should have put a mustache on.
I know. But we get a lot of like really classic tropes, which is why I think I loved this movie so much. Is, the girls go to the castle, even though all the locals are like, just stay away from the castle. Yeah. They go to the castle, and the one tries to reach her hand in to like get into the castle and unlock it, and she scratches her arm. So they take off. Radu follows the smell of the blood and then starts feeding on her over a course of several nights.
Yes.
I love that trope.
And he's infatuated with Michelle for some reason.
Because Stefan wants her.
Because Stefan, yes, he hates Stefan so much.
Stefan.
Your pain, little brother, makes me feel sick.
Because they're half brothers.
Yes.
Radu's mother, who we will get to meet in the next movie,
yeah,
was an evil witch. So he's part witch, apparently.
Yes.
He's many things, that Radu. So yeah, there's like a hostility between him and his brother. You know, he killed the dad and everything. I don't know why he waited this long to kill the dad. Knowing what we know now, I think he was like, yeah, it seems about time.
Yeah, where was he?
I don't know. But yeah, I like how like the villagers act to everything. Like they're always having like the big funerals with the music playing.
Yeah, and we get the old thing about if the horse won't jump over the grave, that's the grave of a vampire, which is real lore. So this movie was so rooted in real Romanian lore.
And when the old lady dies, when she gets bitten by Radu, they like cut her head off. And I don't know why they stop in the fort so everyone could observe on their way to the cemetery.
They were coming to get holy water because that fort used to be a monastery, which we learn in the third movie.
Got you. Yeah, so they cut the head off to make sure they don't come back to life.
At that point, Lillian had died, and Carl is like, don't let them know that she died or they're going to do the same to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably should have. Because they bury her outside the castle, which is convenient for her and Radu.
And the guy at the fort is working with Stefan.
Yes.
And he's like, I got a way to kill them.
Yes.
I use guns now. He's like...
But the bullets are full of rosary beads.
Bullets are full of rosary beads.
So we know the holy relic thing works.
I've seen silver bullets and wooden bullets. I've never seen rosary bead bullets.
And isn't there like sunlight bullets and blade?
There's sunlight grenades.
There you go.
Yes.
So this one was very rooted in like classic vampire. It had all the tropes. It had all the elements.
Yes.
And I think that's why I fell in love with it so hard.
Yeah. And the vampire's weakness, I think you need to be impaled and hit with sunlight. Radu is an exception, and we'll learn why as these go on, because he's not fully a vampire.
Right.
The fifth one really tied it all together, Lena. You know, now I'm glad they made it 20-something years later.
Right. So this movie ends with Mara and Lillian have been turned, so they're brides now.
Yes.
And they kidnap...
Which is a lot like Dracula.
Gotta have three. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Gotta have three, and they have to be wearing white gowns or it doesn't count. So they grab a hold of Michelle, get her to the castle. They're like holding her down on the bed, and Radu's like crawling on top of her while his brother is like tied up. Yeah. And at this point in time, because they've known each other for 14 hours, they're madly in love, and they would throw everything away for each other.
Yes,
It's
of course.
True love.
Of course.
So Stefan is tortured that Radu is climbing all over his girl. But they manage to break free, and then they kill Radu. It's a stab to the forehead?
Yeah, and they stab him through the chest, and they cut his head off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, they cut his head off. That's right.
And they leave him out for the sunlight for when it eventually comes up.
Right. The stab in the head is the second one.
Yes.
So in the first one, they chop his head off.
Yeah.
And he apparently, when we didn't see, had bitten Michelle and put his blood in her.
Yeah.
So she was going to turn. So she says to Stefan, I don't want to be like him. So he bites her, and he shares his blood in the hopes that his blood will outdo it.
And then they get into the coffin, which conveniently has a light inside of it. I don't know if you noticed the light coming out from underneath the coffin. Like,
Can we talk about that shot going backwards of Radu? It's like on a grate. It's supposed to be down under the castle. Yeah. But they have like a spotlight underneath as he rises. That's a great shot.
So these were low budget.
Yes.
They were like the first American productions in Romania, I think. But they get a little better in 2 and 3. But they did the best they could with the limited budget and whatnot they have. I think filming in Romania really helped because the castles and stuff are already there.
Yeah.
Not a lot of set dressing you have to do.
And the culture just leans into it. You don't even have to.
I love all the masks at the festival. The masks are like a big part of this.
The setting, the masks, the people. Yeah. I mean, the whole thing just so leans into the vampire lore already. There was very little you had to do with it. Yeah. Now, the actor who plays Radu is extremely strong and very talented, so that helps.
He often feels like he's in his own movie. It feels like everyone else is in a different movie, and then you just cut to this asshole going, ah!
That's what you get from pretending you are human.
You're my fledgling. The stone is my birthright, Stefan. It just sucks when he has to pick stuff up because the fingers are too big.
Bend back.
Yeah, they're bending back, but he can't quite the bloodstone. He's like, my bloodstone. It didn't help when they're sword fighting, and he has to hold a sword with the big wobbly fingers.
Well, and then in the fifth one, he's like 150 years old, so that didn't help either. But yeah, the first one's very classic. So it ends with Stefan and Michelle laying down in the coffin together.
Yep. And
we'll
then
get back to that.
And then the subspecies come back out of his blood. That's his thing.
And
He
they
eats
like
your
pull
blood.
his head to his body.
Well, that's in the next one.
Right.
But yeah, no, I really, really like the first one.
Yes.
Looking back and I'm like, this was a good time.
Yes.
And I can see why it was so popular. He's such a cool looking vampire. He's just really cool. He's more goofy. He gets cooler, but he's very goofy in this one.
But it works.
Yeah, and the cameo from Angus, right?
Scrim,
is just hilarious because the wig. We learn why he has that wig in part 5, but it's just like, what
Do
the
we
hell?
though?
Is this he just had anything laying around and you just threw it on?
I feel like we're trying to create logic where there is none. That's the problem. So that's very classic.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with this movie. I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was in high school, I actually started teaching myself Romanian because of this movie. And I was going to go to Romania and I had a whole big plan. And one of the reasons that my vampire Soren in my books is from Romania is an homage to this series.
To this series. None of the other vampire stuff, specifically subspecies.
Just that part of it. But it was just sort of like, I wanted to give honor to all the different things that have created my love of vampires.
If you go to Romania,
yes,
feel free to do crime. Just don't live stream yourself talking about it. You know,
wait, I should write this down.
2 brothers decided that they would go to Romania and brag about how they're getting away with all this stuff. And then they keep acting surprised every time the authorities come because they're like, shut up,
Like
buddy.
the cops watch YouTube?
Yeah, they're like, what the hell are you doing? You're not supposed to talk about it, you asshole.
For Romania.
And also, don't go to that old castle. Just stay away from the castle. You're going to go to the castle. I know you're going to go to the castle. So Subspecies 1 must have done really well. And Charles Band was like, hey, Ted, do 2 at the same time.
Yes.
And that led to Bloodstone, Subspecies 2.
Yes.
Could you read the back of the box
I
here?
would love to. In the second installment of the Subspecies series, Radu's fledgling and love interest Michelle flees from his castle with the holy relic, the Bloodstone. Meanwhile, as a new vampire, Michelle struggles with her emerging bloodlust. To escape Radu, she hides in the basement of a theater in Bucharest. That's another one. Don't shriek when you hear the word Bucharest.
Bucharest, yeah.
Waiting for her sister to arrive from the U.S. to help her before it's too late.
Yes. Now, this one does does one of my favorite horror sequel things. 1, recasting the lead. Love it. Love it. It's like Nightmare 4. It's like, who, Arquette? Nah, Tuesday Night, get her in there. So Denise Duff replaces whoever played her in the first one. And she's grown a lot of hair in one night.
Right.
The vampirism makes your hair grow?
But not for anyone else.
Not
Just
for
her.
anyone else. Just her hair grows. And my other favorite thing, killing off the survivors of the last one. Stefan, bye, Stefan. Bye.
Bye.
You're dead now.
You were cute, but you were too cute.
You were too cute for this series.
Gotta get rid of you.
So yeah, Radu, the subspecies helped build Radu. It looks like the Thing. It's not as good as the Thing, but they did the effect of like the tentacles coming out of the head.
Yeah, the tendons.
And then pushing,
Yeah.
they push the head back onto the body. He comes back to life. Stefan's sleeping, so he gets the drop on Stefan. And it's like,
Wait, but Stefan is now sleeping alone. So Stefan is in one coffin. Michelle's in a second coffin, which is not the way the first one ended.
so wait. So maybe this is like a day or 2 later, and it was just very overcast, so the sun never burnt up Radu, and they never checked on him.
Okay. And her hair grew in 2 days.
And her hair grew in 2 days. I don't know.
But why'd they split up? They're young lovers. They should be together all the time.
I don't know.
They're
Maybe
like, you know what? I go sleep in another coffin.
he snores.
Yes, he snores.
She snores. I can't.
You're cute, but you snore.
I can't.
Yeah.
I gotta. The vampires don't have CPAP.
So he opens Stefan's coffin,
Yeah.
kills him,
Kills
to
him,
ash.
turns him into a skeleton, and then beats the shit out of this guy. He's like, I fucking hate you,
But
Stefan.
not yet. Not until he realized. So he kills Stefan, who turns to ash.
Yeah.
But then the sun is coming up. So
Yeah.
he takes off.
Yeah. And then
So,
Michelle wakes
okay.
up and is like, I better get this bloodstone out of
She
here.
wakes up, sees her love is dead, grabs the bloodstone, takes off.
Yeah.
Radu comes up, sees Michelle is gone and the Bloodstone. That's when he picks up his brother's skeleton and like slams it, and then he stomps on it.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, it will come up in a different movie. But there was an idea to show that during the day, Radu looks like a skeleton.
Yeah, disintegrates and then comes
back.
back.
But they thought the effect looked really bad. And then they tried it in the spin-off, and the effect looked really bad. They should have just not done that. I guess it didn't look terrible compared to everything else.
So many vampire films just see the vampire going into the coffin and then coming out. And they don't show you what happens in between. They leave it to your imagination, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I just assume they're just sleeping. That's most of them do. But yeah, so he has to go to Bucharest to look for her. Her sister shows up. What's her sister's name?
So she goes to the hotel, says, I need to make a long distance call, calls her sister and says,
I don't want him to get me.
I don't want him to get me.
Can you be more specific?
And she's like, oh my gosh, where are you? What is going on? I drank his blood. He drank my blood. Like, could you imagine getting that phone call?
And I'd be like, okay, location, address, where are you?
Right.
I don't want to be like him. I get that, but more specific, where are you?
What have you taken? What are you on?
Yeah.
Can you get to a hospital? So she says, I'm in Hotel Bucharest. And her sister's like, stay there. I will get to you.
Yeah.
And so she checks in because I guess she has money.
Yeah.
And then she goes up to the room.
And then she sleeps in the shower, and then the next day they think she's dead.
No, wait. She cries in the shower naked, which was an important. I know.
I forgot to mention. A lot of boobs in this movie.
So
her friend who was tied up in the last one, there were
reason.
conveniently 2 cuts in her outfit so both nipples could pop out. But no, yeah, I didn't understand that she was sad until I saw her naked in the shower crying. Yeah.
Crying in the shower, which is an important plot point.
It was very important.
Yes. Okay.
Very important.
So what we learn, because, I'm a vampire podcast, is that vampires cry naked in the shower.
Yes. That's what they do.
That's important.
That's the only way they because Lena, come on. Because they if they were to really cry, they would leak blood.
Yeah.
So they have to have water running to imitate the look of tears so they can feel like humans.
So then
I don't know how that interferes with the overrunning water thing. But anyway.
She climbs into bed, even though it's been abundantly clear that she needs to sleep in a coffin or away from the sun.
She's new at it.
Okay. So the sun comes up. She freaks out and climbs into the bathtub to sleep out of the sun. The maid comes in and thinks she is a dead body.
Yeah.
Calls the police. The police throw her in a body bag and take her. Meanwhile, her sister has flown over and is now in Bucharest.
And her sister, whose name I can't remember, is played by Melanie Shatner.
What is her sister's name? It's Michelle, and she cried it a million times. How are we forgetting?
Let me look this up. Hold on. Her name is Rebecca. Yeah. Rebecca Morgan.
Rebecca.
Played by Melanie Shatner, William Shatner's daughter.
Yeah.
If you ever wanted to see William Shatner's daughter naked, watch Subspecies 2 and 3.
Okay.
She does it in both.
I know. Yeah.
So she has to fly over there. Now, she looks exactly like Michelle from the previous film.
They should have cast her as Michelle. She has the same haircut and everything.
She had the same face and everything. Like, the new girl looks nothing like Michelle. Right. It's like, why didn't they swap the roles?
I don't know.
I mean, I think the one who plays Michelle is a better actress. Clearly, she did a lot more than Melanie Shatner. Only did a few things. Surprise, her first 2 roles were Star Trek 4 and 5.
What?
Yeah, her dad starred in 4, and then he starred and directed 5. She had minor roles. Yeah, she does 2 Star Treks. She's like, yeah, I'll show my tits in the vampire direct-to-video sequel.
Like Brad Dourif's daughter being in one of the Chuckies?
Yes. That one makes a little bit more sense. At least she was like a main character. She wasn't like a throwaway character.
So Becky arrives.
Yes.
And she's like, hi, I'm here for my sister. And they're like, hold on 1 second.
She meets my favorite character of the series. Was it Detective Marin? Who he learned English from watching American TV shows, and he loves Big Bird. He's hilarious, that Big Bird.
Big Bird, it's funny, that Big Bird, yeah?
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm sitting there because I have nieces who watch Sesame Street, and I'm like, that Big Bird's not that funny. Oscar is the funny one, obviously. Obviously, Lena, as we all know, Oscar is the funny one.
We all have a different sense of humor.
But like Big Bird, I'm like, Big Bird's not really funny. He doesn't
know.
really tell jokes.
Marin is such a good character, though. He's a great character. And he's sort of the bumbling detective,
yes.
which I appreciate.
Which I feel bad. He is out of his element in these movies.
Yeah, so he shows up and he's like, so your sister we thought was dead. But
and then
actually,
she disappeared.
The van crashed and she sat up and ran off. So she must have been stunned, not dead. My bad. But also, this relic was found.
And they don't know what the Bloodstone is.
What is it? And it looks expensive.
And Rebecca's like, I have no idea. And then she deals with an American agent who's over there for some reason, who is the guy, the final guy from Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood.
Right. He's from the embassy, I think.
He's from the embassy. Yes. So yeah, they're trying to figure out what Michelle's deal is, how they're going to find her, what this relic is. Radu needs help. And he does what every guy does. You know, he goes and visits his mom for help. Mummy.
Curse you, Radu. Leave my abode.
Mummy.
And she's like, I told you I never want to see your stupid face again.
Okay, so the mummy, Cersei, as we learn her name is later on, the witch, as we call her.
Looks like the female crypt keeper.
Yes, she used to terrify me as like I genuinely Radu. His makeup looks better in this.
Yeah,
Radu's kind of goofy looking.
Yeah,
the mummy looks absolutely horrifying.
Yeah,
she like really scared me.
And they have her like on the floor, kind of like curled up, and the way that she's sitting is very abnormal. Yeah, and the way that her makeup is so good, her acting. I mean, she steals the movie in my opinion.
And she's played by one of the kids in Weird Science. One of their moms plays her. And I bring it up because I reviewed Weird Science on Dissect That Film.
Nice.
Man, that movie is held up. I love Weird Science. Yeah, it's good.
Well,
I mean, they drop a couple F slurs. Other than that, movie's really held up. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this movie's great. I'm like, that's hilarious. Robert Downey, I mistakenly misremembered that Robert Downey Jr. was the star of that film, but no, he's one of the bullies.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. The mean brother, right?
That's Bill Paxton.
That's Bill Paxton.
Robert Downey Jr. is one of the brothers. Yeah. Anyway, Mummy is terrifying.
Yeah, so Radu shows up. This is like an ancient vampire who can create demons with his fingers. And he walks through the door and he's like, Mummy. And she's like, oh, no.
You're not allowed here because he stole something.
But I brought you a dagger, your dagger.
Yeah.
With the blood of my father on it.
Yeah.
And she's like,
So it's important to mention, she is not a vampire.
She's a witch.
But she can do some of the powers that they do, like the shadow stuff. And she also needs to drink blood.
And it's also immortal.
Or she wants to drink blood, but
it's also immortal. So,
yes. So the Bloodstone is like very important to her.
Yes.
And she thinks she deserves it because it belongs to her son, and that is your birthright. See, I did the mom voice time. I can't do it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I could have watched 10 movies of these two.
It's like a sitcom.
They're fucking great. I love these two. They're like hilarious.
Canned audience.
Radu and Mummy.
Family sitcom. So she's like, great, you've killed your father. That was what I always prophesized would happen. Where's the Bloodstone?
Yeah.
And he's like, well,
my fledgling has it. She's like, oh, come on.
She's like, then get it.
Yeah. And she's like, kill your fledgling.
Yes.
She will destroy you.
Meanwhile,
and she's not wrong.
No.
He has we learned that he has a history of simping.
She does say, like, she's going to be your undoing if you don't just take care of it now. But Michelle is hiding out in the basement of a theater.
Yes.
That nobody ever checks.
Yeah.
All the costumes are down there, all the props, but nobody ever looks.
Real quick, one thing I love that she tells him he needs to leave and go get her. He's like, but Mom, it's sunlight. Can I hang out here? And she goes, no. Like she
says, go back to your castle, burn all the bodies, and then don't return until the full moon.
Yeah.
So he's been sent away.
Yeah, but I love that he asked, like, can I do it at night? And she's like, no, right now. He's like, fuck, like flying away from the sun. Michelle and American Embassy guy go to that vampire expert.
Is that the second one?
Yes.
Okay, the professor.
Yes.
Who knows Carl from the fort.
Yes.
Yes.
You have your notes there?
I do.
Okay.
Okay. What we've missed was Michelle is staying in the basement of the theater in a glass coffin, which is very stupid because anyone could walk down and see you every day. She comes out and realizes she has bloodlust now.
Yeah.
So this is another thing. Don't drink every time Michelle kills somebody and then cries about it.
Does she like fully kill them? I think she just bites them and...
It doesn't matter. Like she cries and over the course of the film, she kills like 8 people.
Yeah.
Okay, stop crying. Stop crying. Stop crying. Yeah. So they are going to the professor who knows Mara and says, oh, yeah, I know Mara. She was one of my students. Her and her 2 friends, one of them is your sister, were out at the fort in Prejmar. And I know Carl, the guy who runs the fort, so I'll take you over there. Yeah. So he takes them over there. Nobody's there because everybody's dead.
The whole, like, Radu is trying to get her to be on his side. The mom wants her to just kill him, to just kill her. But I love when they go to kill Radu, right? The professor, like, you think he's going to do it. And it's like, here we go. Radu's asleep. Boom. And then I think Mummy just stabs the professor and kills him. And then leaves his body there. And they see it in the next movie, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the one where the professor takes them out to the castle and they see the fresh graves.
Yeah.
And so Marin thinks that it's like a very elaborate antique like ring where they're stealing antiques or pulling antiques out of graves.
Yeah.
And that's how they're running all of these antiques. So he does not think murder, vampires, any of that. He thinks this is an antique ring, which I think is genius. And he's always eating, too.
Yes, he's always eating.
Always eating, yeah.
This one ends a bit on a cliffhanger.
Radu and Michelle are at the crypt with the mother.
Yes.
And Becky gets there somehow.
Yeah.
But this is where she stabs him in the head and kills him. And Becky and her are running up the stairs, but the sun is coming up.
Yeah. So she's like, I'll wait for you until the sun goes down. Just stay alive. Whatever you do, stay alive.
A great shot where Michelle is backing down the stairs into the darkness and that freaking witch comes out.
It scared me.
Yeah.
And she looks even more terrifying because they lit her on fire at this point.
And she's like moving her head like this. Yeah. And she's screaming. And she's her back screaming.
So creepy. It's so creepy.
It's really good.
I forgot they lit her on fire and then stabbed him in the head.
Yes.
And like I said, if you were watching these, you'd probably be like, that's stupid. And then at the end of this one, you're like, well, does he get her out? Does she get her out? I gotta watch the next one. I can't just not watch the next one.
Correct. So this time around, I was watching with my teenage son, who's about to be 18. I said, hey, I gotta watch some movies for Hack the Movies. Yeah. Do you want to watch them with me? And he's like, what movies are they? And I'm like, well, they're these movies I was obsessed with in high school. They're from the 90s. He's like,
that you were obsessed. Every other girl's probably into Interview with the Vampire shit. You're like, no, Subspecies. Let me tell you about that.
I liked that it was a little darker. It was a little more rooted in reality. That was my jam as opposed to Fancy Boys. I blame David from The Lost Boys for that. So he's like, yeah, whatever. So the first one starts and he's on his computer or his phone. So then he starts to kind of pay attention. Then he's asking questions. Yeah. By the second one, he was sort of locked in. And when this ended, he's like, well, we got to keep going. So we watched 1, 2, 3, and 4. It was like 1:30 in the morning.
Jesus.
I need a break. I need a break. And he's like, you got to lock in. You got to lock in. He was into it. So I had to wait until he came back the next day to finish the 5th one because he was into it.
They're fun once you get going. They're very short movies. Yes. You can binge them all in a day, really.
And they're so different.
Yeah.
There's nothing like these.
Yes, they're very unique. You don't see a lot of stuff that you would see in these.
Yes.
Like, a lot of vampire movies don't have subspecies. A lot of the Subspecies movies don't have subspecies.
I don't think any other vampire movie has subspecies in them. But it ends with that, with her being pulled back screaming. And that is a great ending.
It's a great cliffhanger.
Great. And the next one picks right back up.
Next one picks up right back up.
You're up.
But it was important to show Rebecca get changed. We needed to see her naked right at the beginning of the movie, getting changed into different clothes. What? We needed her to change into different clothes. It was important, Lena.
Okay. All right.
I would have been confused if the next scene where she meets with the embassy guy, she's got different clothes on. Like, when do those get on? We had to see it.
Okay.
God.
Was she also put in a white dress? Why are they always putting white dresses? And where are these white dresses coming from?
That's a good question.
Sacrificial dresses.
That's a good question.
There's just like a rack and it just says sacrificial dresses. What size are you, honey?
Yeah, none of the bad guys wear white dresses, really.
Exactly. Oh, come on, what size are you? Hurry up.
Yeah. So she goes back and tries to tell them the story.
Do you want to read the back?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I skipped ahead.
You made it clear that was your job.
So I was so excited to talk about Subspecies III that I forgot to read the thing. Okay. Bloodlust. Subspecies III. Bloodlust brings the third coming of Radu, who captures his fledgling.
I wish they didn't use the word coming.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
You want to hear about Radu coming?
No. He does, though. That's the whole point of the whole thing.
Who captures his fledgling Michelle and returns her to the castle he shares with his sorceress mother. Mommy. Radu teaches Michelle how to master her vampire powers. Meanwhile, Michelle's sister Becky plans an armed assault on Radu's stronghold. She is determined to save her sister's soul. And this time, she's brought some help. Well, actually, the guy brings the help, and the help does not do a good job.
No. And I wouldn't call their attempt an assault.
So again, two stories. It's Becky and what's-his-face preparing to storm the castle.
So Marin is the Romanian detective.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the cute agent is Mel?
I think so.
Yes.
So this scene, so when she tells them the story, they go to check out the castle. They can't get a warrant for the castle, so they can't enter. Well, they don't know how to enter it.
So we're not there yet.
I'm talking about the two different stories.
Okay, go.
So it's them trying to enter the castle. Marin goes ahead of time. And then eventually they will storm it. The other story is Michelle being seduced by Radu and he's trying to get her over to the dark side.
Yes.
However, when Marin does look at the castle, this is like the one image that stayed with me forever. It's haunted me. When he's got the binoculars and the witch is just staring out the window and then she disappears. I'm like, oh, I remember that as a kid. That was like the one thing I remember the most. I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
That was because that would be the scariest thing I could imagine, staring out a window at me.
It's not just, the way that she moves herself.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I love that she's like, no, the witches can do the sunlight. That's not the one. But yeah, how do you feel about the 3? What's your thoughts on this one?
So we got a couple really good things out of 3.
Yeah.
So Marin gets turned.
Well, he gets like attacked. The 4th one, I think, confirms that he was turned, right? Yeah.
So he gets attacked. That's right. He's attacked and left in the field.
Yeah.
Eating. Remember, he's like always eating.
Constantly.
And this was the big trigger for us in the next one, was that he didn't want to eat.
Yeah.
The witch is who brings Radu back.
Yeah.
So she goes through this whole ritual to bring him back. So that's how we get him back, which shows us that as long as she's in play, the humans are never going to win.
Yes.
Or the good vampires will never win. So that was a very important point. The back and forth between Radu and Michelle really started to wear on me.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it.
It really started to wear on me. And it also felt to me like there were times where she was like into it and she was starting to turn evil and she was being nice to him and then all of a sudden it was back to no, and she would run and he would find her and then he would grab her and then she'd get it got to a point where I was just like, oh my goodness. It's too much back and forth. It didn't work for me after a while.
Okay, yeah. Now, the Radu Michelle stuff was kind of dull in this, but all the human stuff, the storming of the castle.
Yes.
I remember all these scenes like the back of my head.
The bumbling police trope for me is always good.
There's that, but embassy guy is like, I'm going to call in a favor.
Oh, I forgot about this guy.
My friend from the CIA.
The crazy American.
Yes.
Yes.
So he calls this guy from the CIA who almost shoots all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I like that earlier they were trying to go to the castle with a medieval axe and stake, and then the cops are there and they're like, oh, we'll come back. So they go back again, but they meet the CIA guy who almost shoots everyone.
Yes.
And he goes, hey, buddy, I got all the stuff that you wanted. Garlic, this. And he's like, and I even melted down some silver from my neighbor to make these bullets. You owe her $500. And he goes, what are we doing? Hunting vampires? The guy's like, yeah.
Yeah, and then the CIA agent's like, whatever.
Okay, man,
All right,
if you're cool with it, bud.
Yeah. And then he like scales the side of the castle.
I love this whole scene. They show you him scaling the castle. The castle did have a door at some point, and I guess the witch has erased the door.
No, so remember at one point in time, they take the little back tunnel and make it into the foyer of the castle. And Radu's like, what are you doing in my place? And they're like, oh sorry, we didn't know somebody was still in here.
Yeah.
So when they went to go back, Radu had blocked off the
Gotcha.
entrance.
Oh, yeah, and then when they went in, they found the dead professor. I did like he's just sitting there like...
Yeah.
So yeah, he scales the wall, and I love Becky looks at him, he's like, can you do that? He goes, no, that's why I have him. And then he just throws the rope down for
Exactly.
But yeah, so all this whole sequence of building up CIA guy, this is the moment of the movie for me. Like, yeah, he's a badass. He's awesome. He's going to kick so much ass. He's got the right tools. Finally, these vampires are done. He walks into the castle, sees the witch tormenting a girl, and he's like, freeze, lady. And she just looks at him and goes, ah, and shoots the blade right into his head.
Yep.
It's the biggest letdown of a character ever.
Yep.
And I was like, bravo.
Yeah.
They're shooting her with the silver thing, which doesn't work on her.
Nope.
She's like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it the third one where we get the death of Circe? Is that the third one?
Yes.
Yes.
So, yeah, because Circe hates the fletchling, Michelle. Because, she's distracting.
Oh, yeah. She's like grabbing her by the hair and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
She was horrible to Michelle.
But
Granted, Michelle killed her son right in front of her.
That's true.
So then when she had to bring Radu back,
yeah,
she even said to Michelle, she's like, I hate that your beautiful face is the ruin of my powerful son.
Yes.
Yeah.
God, she really is the main villain of these two.
Oh, so good.
It's like when the Emperor shows up in Return of the Jedi. You're like, oh, I thought Darth Vader was the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
So good.
But yeah, I guess Radu's had enough of her shit. He's like, shut up, Mom!
Yeah.
I'm going to keep the Bloodstone for myself and move in with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he cuts her head off.
Yeah.
And she's still talking to him,
So
yelling at him.
He chooses Michelle over his mother.
That's some simp
Yikes.
behavior.
So he went from mommy to
He's got mommy issues. He just needs a motherly figure.
He got mommy and daddy issues.
Yeah,
because
he
we
really
see that in
does.
the fifth one.
He really does.
Got a lot of issues that were holds on way too tight.
Yeah, but I like that he cuts her head off and she's talking.
Yes,
he just throws it into the fire.
He doesn't even throw it. He just
leaves
it
in
down.
the fire. So she doesn't have subspecies that can help her.
No. That only happens when you are the mix of a witch and a vampire.
Oh, okay. Okay, I guess that's how you do it.
I'm surprised you didn't know that, Tony.
I didn't. But yeah, that's kind of disappointing that that's how she just dies.
I think it's powerful that they had him do it.
Yeah.
That's a powerful.
It is fun when you get the villains turning on each other. That is fun.
Like we kept saying, like the downfall of this 1,000-year-old vampire is simping.
Yeah. Yes, it really is. It really is.
That's the theme of this whole video. Don't simp.
But I think this one in particular, like best effects.
Oh.
The makeup looks even way cooler.
Yes.
That blade to the head is awesome.
3 felt like they finally felt their stride. They got their stride.
Yes.
Right? Because they have more money than they did in the first one. They now have built... I hate to be that person, but as somebody who's written multiple books, the first book is just the world building.
Yeah.
It's so much work. So it's not till the second or third one you really get to like take off running with
and
your
this
story.
really does feel like a part 3, like a part 2 of that story, but a part 3 overall. It moves a lot faster, even if the Michelle and Radu stuff kind of.
That is the moment that those, and that's just me personally. I
pause 1 second.
Yeah. That's me. I called forth the thunder and lightning and wind.
Sorry, we got a Radu out there. Hold on. Oh yeah, real quick. The second and third one, again, they kind of blend together because they were filmed at the same time.
They absolutely feel like they've shot one whole movie and chopped it in half.
The shadow effects, they had a lot of fun with the shadow effects. Some of them are 2D animated.
Yeah.
I love the one where his hand is like a claw. That was cool. But yeah, I guess because at this point, Bram Stoker's Dracula came out, and they're like, we could do that shadow effect.
Is that right? I thought Bram Stoker was way before this.
1993. Okay, so the first one was before Bram Stoker. 2 and 3 are after, so I'm assuming maybe they saw it at that point because they go real hard into the shadow effect.
But without all that money.
Without all the money and not as good. We're just gonna put a big spotlight and have them out there, and then they're gonna leave. We're gonna have their shadow.
I do love the shadow flying though.
Yeah, the shadow flying is cool as hell.
That's a great vampire power.
Yeah. Yeah, so they had a lot more fun with the effects. The sets look great.
Yes.
It's solid, and they send Radu to his death. This is the tree, right?
The tree.
You like the tree?
So he is like he gets put through the ringer. He's like stabbed. Oh wait, we have to explain. There's 2 major weapons in this world.
Yeah.
There's the demon dagger.
Yes.
Which is what he was stabbed with in the second one. It belongs to his mother. That's what he stabbed his father with and gave back to her.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's a special sword as well. I don't know if we've seen that one yet.
We have not.
Okay, so we'll talk about that one later. But these are the 2 major weapons we need to remember. But he gets like speared, shoved into the sunlight, thrown over the edge, and is like impaled on a tree.
Yep.
Bursts into flames.
Yep.
And at the end of it, we see parts of him dripping, like bits of flesh dripping down onto the ground.
And we know what comes out of that. The subspecies. Remember them?
Yes.
Did you know that's what the movies were?
Yeah. So even I know this is I learned something from you because I just always assumed subspecies meant just a species below. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, they're just referring to these species of vampires as subspecies.
No, but
it's actually the little guys.
I really think this started out like maybe like this will be our new puppet master, but then people just really liked Radu.
They just want Radu.
And they're like, we don't really care about the little demon guys.
And to be fair, I don't think they realized that they were tapping into something that was about to become huge, which was vampires. So we had
I feel like every decade vampires start off pretty big.
Right, but who's going to be the big franchise? You know? So they tapped into something where people are like, I don't care about the tiny demons. Give me more of the vampires, you know? And so they're
like, I already have Puppet Masters 3 through 500. I'm fine. We don't need any more Puppet Masters. We already have Prehysteria.
Yeah.
We're good.
So they have put Michelle in a body bag in the trunk of the car. They have Mel, the cute embassy guy.
Yeah.
William Shatner's daughter, Becky. Yeah. And then a random girl that they saved from the castle.
Yes.
So the 3 of them are all in a car and they have taken off.
They've taken off while he dissolves in the sunlight, but really the subspecies are going to help him out.
You got to jump ahead.
Well, we just know that that's what's going to happen. But you know what?
There's a 4 and a 5, everybody.
This probably would have been a good place to end the series.
It felt like it should have been.
Felt like a good ending.
Yeah.
Instead, they did Subspecies 4. Now, real quick,
it's
important to mention, again, we're going to talk about it on your channel.
Yes.
But between this...
Let's talk about timelines.
Charles Band got Ted...
Nicolau.
Yes, to write a different vampire movie that was in the Subspecies universe. Yes. And he told him, this is your chance to do a more, like, elegant. Classic vampire.
Yes.
And it was called The Vampire Journals.
Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, it's called The Vampire Journals, not the Chronicles.
Not Vampire Diaries.
Yeah.
Not... Interview with the Vampire.
What is the full Interview with the Vampire called?
The Vampire Chronicles.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm. So Anne Rice's universe is the Vampire Chronicles.
Yes.
Then we have the Vampire Diaries.
Yes.
And the Vampire
Journals.
This
is Vampire Journals.
And if you guys never heard of it, that's because it didn't take off.
Yeah, it didn't take off, but it tied into... So you know how let me think of a good thing. Hold on. Now it's like when you watch a modern Marvel movie and they work in characters from the TV shows you don't watch. So a lot of people probably, well, not a lot of people went to the new Captain America, but some people probably went to the new Captain America and they went, who's the old black guy with Captain America problems? Who the hell's that? And they're like, who's the Latino guy with the Falcon suit? It's like, oh, yeah, you didn't watch the spinoff show. So characters from this, specifically Ash.
Yeah, so chronologically, we got 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Vampire Journals, 4, 5.
Yes.
Vampire Journals will be on my channel.
Yes. And then in Vampire Journals, Yeah, so you meet the character Ash, who mentions that his master was Radu.
Mm-hmm.
He owns a casino.
And brothel.
And brothel. And he has the Sword of Laertes, which is another vampire killing thing. And he died at the end. Anyway, he's back.
Why you gotta tell the whole thing? They gotta go to my channel to see that.
I'm just letting them know what they have to know.
No, they have to experience it like we did.
Well, we didn't talk about everything else that happened in the movie. I just mentioned
the way we experienced it was, what is the Vampire Journals?
And again, there's another one. I can't even remember the name of it off the top of my head. But yeah, so those are the only elements.
We watched 3 and then 4 and we're like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
So we didn't know there was a spinoff.
You gave me a heads up on the spinoff. And it's funny because they show like a montage and they include mentions of the spinoff. And I think there's something else that might be from that other one. So anyway, so that's all you need to know is the Ash character, the brothel casino, and the sword are from Vampire Journals.
Or are they? We're going to talk about this at the end.
We're going to talk about it. Anyway, can you read the plot for...
So I was nice enough to give Tony the heads up on like the timeline, chronologically, how you want to watch it. Mm-hmm. Whereas I watched 1, 2, 3, 4 and was like, who are these pretty flamboyant vampires? And then discovered Vampire Journals.
Okay.
And so that way I was able to give you the heads up. And then you and I both watched 5.
Yes.
Brand new. We
watched it today. Fresh in my mind.
Because what happened was you and I talked about doing this, and you said, wait, I think they just came out with a new one.
I remember when they announced.
No, they did
they? Yeah. Well, when we get to 5, I'll talk a little bit about the backstory. Yep. But yeah, so I remember there was a new one. So I was like, this is a good time to do it.
So we've been talking about doing this for
a while.
Like 2 years.
For a while.
It's finally happening, and I'm so excited.
Anyway, the plot for Bloodbath, is that the name of this one?
Bloodstorm.
Bloodstorm.
But I actually like Bloodbath. Let's change it.
Okay.
All right. The vampire Radu returns to Bucharest in pursuit of his headstrong fledgling, Michelle. He reclaims his underground stronghold from Ash, a powerful vampire who mingles in the world of the mortals, while he devises a way into the secret clinic where Michelle is being held by the evil Dr. Niculescu.
Yeah. Dr. Blood, as the vampires call him.
That's what I'm to be called from now on.
Yeah.
Dr.
Now,
Blood.
on Amazon. For some reason, this one's not on Tubi, but it is on Amazon. But there's 2 options. There's a free option, and then apparently there's remastered. I didn't feel like forking up the money for remastered. But this one just I need to check out the remastered because just visually, like film-wise, it looks terrible.
I'm wondering if the one on here is the remastered one.
I don't know when it was remastered.
I don't know.
Specifically on Amazon, there is a remaster one. So I got a new TV recently in my room, and I decided... yeah, sure. Let's break this bad boy in with Subspecies 4. And I thought I was messing up the color settings on my TV. And I'm like trying to adjust. I'm like, why does everyone have this brown haze on it? Like, what the hell's going on? Because I'm like one of those guys. I will manually go through and fix the settings on my TV to like make sure it looks good. And I was like getting frustrated. I'm like, fuck it. Auto, Vivid, just get it over with. And then I watched it down here on my PC.
You're
I'm like,
nope.
I'm like, oh, the movie just looks like that.
It's an editing choice.
So in editing, I will check out the remastered version and see if it's a much better transfer. Hi, everyone. Tony from the future here, and I'm just going to let you know that I did watch the Subspecies 4 remastered version. So I did more research. Apparently, Subspecies 4's original print or negative went missing. It's gone. No one can find it. So that is why it looks really, really terrible when you watch it on streaming or on DVD or something. So I was curious about the remaster, and it turns out it's included in the big Subspecies coffin box set, which I will be unboxing on Patreon. I popped in the Blu-ray, and I learned that it is an AI upscaled version of the film. I guess this was the best that they could do to make it look a little better. So that's the footage I'm using for this episode. You'll notice people's faces warping. Sometimes there's like a jittery effect. The frame rate gets all weird. They all have this weird plastic airbrush quality. It looks terrible. It kind of looks worse than the original version, which also looked pretty bad. So it's unfortunate that this movie got screwed up and there's no remaster for it. But yeah, just want to let you know I figured out the mystery. Goodbye. can you refresh my memory? How the fuck did Radu survive in this one? How does he get back together?
So he starts dripping down onto the ground.
Yes.
The subspecies emerge.
Okay.
But that doesn't even matter because the branch breaks and he falls into water.
Okay.
Which stops the fire. And unlike Dracula Untold, I will not be talking about how hot Radu looks in the water. He's like fully black and charred.
Wait. Okay, yes. Real quick. The subspecies are archive footage from 3. There are no new subspecies.
And there's no reason they don't do anything to help him.
Because in the original script, they were probably going to do something.
What would they do? Drag him out of the water? Like so he falls in the water, which is very convenient.
Yes.
And this stops the burning.
Yeah.
He stands up, charred, fully formed, so nothing apparently dripped off him.
Yeah.
So he's like
growing back.
charred, and he backs into the darkness and he scrambles into the castle and climbs into the coffin, I guess, to recover.
Yes. Now, our heroes.
Not so lucky. In this one, the tree broke and saved Radu. The other tree killed all 3 main characters.
Yes. So they survived the vampire, the witch, the subspecies, and then they drove into a tree.
Accident. The tree that flipped the car over.
Yes.
Ejected Michelle from the trunk.
Yes.
So
who's in the body bag?
In the body bag. So a woman comes across the car accident who happens to be a doctor, which is lucky for them.
Yeah.
And she knows right away the 3 people in the car are dead. So she calls 911 or whatever Romanian 911 is.
For whatever reason, he insisted this pick up after the 4th one. This was not shot at the same time.
Yeah.
And they just couldn't get those actors back. So instead of recasting them like they did with Michelle, they were like, oh, let's just kill them off. I'm like,
you're like, we really just need Michelle.
And I was really hoping that later on we would find out like the human familiars did it and covered it up. But it's like, no, they just, after all that, it's like, yeah, then they drove into a tree like idiots. It's
yes.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, there had to be something more to that. That's stupid.
That being said, if you watch the end of 3, when they are like flying down and it's a dirt road in the forest, probably not the best decision. Anywho, so
it's a very lazy way to kill the characters.
I know. And she is in a body bag in the middle of the road, dirt path.
Yeah.
And the doctor unzips it and Michelle, this is what she does whenever the sunlight hits her.
She never like smokes up or burns. It's just,
she like seizes.
Yeah.
So the doctor, sorry, but you're not going to zip them back up into the body bag because you think this is a human having a seizure. But anywho, zips her back up in the body bag.
Hey, Lena, that's more than I would have done. I would have just went, not my problem, and kept driving.
Right. So she's like, there's a hospital nearby.
Yeah.
So she rushes to the hospital to take Michelle there. And in the hospital, we meet Dr. Nicolescu, who they call Dr. Blood.
Who the movie spends a lot of time with low angle shots.
If I had to describe this movie in one word, overacting.
Yes.
He overacted to a point where I had a headache.
So the sad thing is, he's probably one of the more fascinating characters on paper.
Yes.
But the execution, I'm like, get this guy off screen. That's a weird way to shoot him.
It was like an acid dream. I dropped LSD and then I was just watching this guy in a hospital. It was so and it was funny because before this one started, I turned to my son and I was like, heads up, this is where it goes off the rails. Like, just be ready. Yeah.
So it's a very loaded movie. So we have this doctor who's investigating Michelle. He's an
odd duck.
We learn that he is a vampire.
Yeah, because they put her on the I was going to say slab, but that's not what we call it, stretcher.
Yeah.
And unzips it.
And he's like, oh, I know what this is.
This is how she acts. And so he's like, that's a vampire.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it was like, how do you know that, doctor, who sounds like a vampire? He's like, I don't know.
But he has found a way.
Yes. That's the interesting thing. So he is clearly a vampire because he waits for the other doctor to go to sleep and drink some of her blood.
Oh, no. He drugs her.
He drugs her. That's right.
He makes her a drink.
Yes.
Drops something in it. Speaking of which, drink more of your tea.
Oh, okay.
Sure. And then she passes out. He slices her femoral. Not a good decision.
That's not where I would go for blood.
Drinks from her while she's knocked out. And then we find out like she was once his student. There's a whole
It's very problematic.
very
It
uncomfortable.
keeps going back and forth whether he is the good guy or not.
He is not the good guy.
In
what world is he a good guy?
He's trying to kill the bad guys, but like
for his own
personal thing. But yeah, I like that. Like, it's a nice reveal where he like you were like, oh, he's a vampire, but then he puts sunglasses on and he's looking at the sun.
So
and you're like, oh shit.
So we don't know right out of the gate because he slices with like a razor and drinks, and I'm like, that doesn't mean he's a vampire.
Yeah.
And then he like shoots himself with something, puts on sunglasses and smiles.
Yeah. So it turns out, he is a fledgling of Ash, who still works at the casino brothel. I guess he got better after being thrown into the sunlight by that other guy. And Ash is like, living it up, having a good time. He's got his...
Right, because while Michelle is at the hospital, Radu really needs to let go, but he just won't.
Yes.
So he goes to Bucharest, to the city under a city.
Yep.
Which used to be his, but he gave it to his fledgling, Ash.
Yes.
And Ash is running a brothel and casino above. And that's where his blood and his money and his playthings and everything comes from.
And I love when Radu comes. He's like, hello, master. I didn't know you'd be here. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to need a room. Moving back in. And he's like, yeah, sure, of course. Yeah. Then later on, he's like, by the way, I'm going to seize all your assets. This is all mine now.
He's like, I'm taking this all back.
Like, I feel like Ash should be like, well, I mean, can we just keep the current rate? Like, you just live, we both live here. I don't know why you need the whole place. Like, I don't know if you know this, but you're going to run out of money.
I think Radu just likes to see people squirm.
He really does.
Yeah.
He has no long-term plans.
He walks into a room and is like, I just want to fuck with everybody.
You know how I know he wasn't really...
Because he takes Ash's girl, too.
Yeah. You know how I know he wasn't really built for this? When he decided to kill his dad and become the vampire king. You notice how he had no army or followers or he was just going to do
plans
or plans. Literally, he does it. He's like, all right, now I'm gonna wait to fight my brother.
If he opened up his to-do book, just says kill my dad, take the bloodstone, kill my brother.
Yeah.
That's it.
Visit mom.
Visit mom.
Optional.
Make mommy proud.
Well, it's visit mom parentheses optional.
He had no game plan.
Feed the subspecies. That's another one.
And then he sees Michelle, and then just everything goes.
Yeah, and then so who was the Serena?
Serena was Ash's consort.
Yes, and she is like trying to play them against each other, sort of. But then Radu is like, you are mine now, Serena. And then afterwards, he's like, get away from me. You're not my fledgling. I'm like, wow, what an asshole. Did you predict she was trying to screw you? You're just messing with her head?
So I'm saying, like, nobody in this whole series just knows what they want.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing, too, is when Radu shows up, he says to Ash, is that the Sword of Laertes?
Yeah.
And he's like, yes, I got it it belonged to a vampire hunter. It was stolen from me 600 years ago, but I got it back. Because that's another thing that Radu is like, maybe I'll take that.
Yeah.
So this is another weapon in play. So our two main weapons are the Demon Dagger and the Sword of Laertes.
Yes.
And so he's like, I'm going to take your girl up to the 6th floor or down to the 6th floor, sub-basement.
The 7th level.
7th level
like
or whatever. Yeah. And it's like cobwebs and nasty. And Ash is like, I can give you a nice room with a bed. He's like, no. Nah, don't need it. I'm good. Ladies' man, that Radu is. Throws her on like a billiard table. It's just like, yeah.
He's very charming. I will say, even though or at least the version I watched didn't do it justice, his makeup is even more intense in this one.
It does. It gets more and more and more and more throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Michelle is at the hospital. Dr. Blood is like, I'm going to cure you. I just need to take your blood.
Okay. So Ash is aware that the doctor has used science to cure the sunlight thing. And then even Radu later on, he's like, I appreciate science. I've been watching you do it, but I know more things. Like, why are you guys taking this so lightly? I'd be like, wait, you cured the sunlight thing? Can we all get that? I would like to go out in the sunlight, you asshole. Like, why is he the only one trying to be proactive?
So this is the thing, Tony. There are so many holes across these 6 movies. So many holes. And that's just one of them.
Yeah.
But of course, what is the ultimate goal of every vampire in this freaking movie?
To get the Bloodstone. Got to get the Bloodstone.
So Dr. Blood wants the Bloodstone. Radu wants Michelle and the Bloodstone.
Yeah.
Ash wants the blood. Like, everybody wants the Bloodstone.
And I'm sitting here waiting for Mummy to rebuild herself, but I'm not getting
she
it,
doesn't come
unfortunately.
back. I know. We got Dr. Blood instead.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, it's all a big showdown. And, Radu shows up and he wants Michelle. But he can't get into the hospital because it's something we didn't mention. In this world, vampires have to be invited into holy places.
Yes.
And the hospital used to be a monastery.
Yes.
So he cannot get in without being invited. But Dr. Blood does a little trickery.
Yeah.
And does invite Radu in, but then they all surround him and
with like the UV lights, and they're hitting him with the holy water. He's like, ah!
Also, go back and watch that scene because the way it's shot, JJ and I played it like 3 times. He walks in, and then these scientists come out from the edge.
Yeah.
But you got to watch the first guy who comes out from this side because he like skips. It is the weirdest. I don't know if he was trying to avoid electric cables on the ground, but watch the way he moves. It was cracking. It was also 1 o'clock in the morning, but
yeah, I had to check that out. But also, Michelle on this one, the dark side is taking over.
Yes.
So she like saves Radu.
Saves Radu.
Because I'm my master. So I guess it reminds me of True Blood, actually.
Yeah.
Where in True Blood, like the young vampires are like fiercely loyal, and then eventually it'll wear off. Yeah.
I love True Blood.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember Bill, he loved that one girl and then like ended up killing her later
I'm
on.
sorry. I don't get the whole vampire Bill thing. Like, anyone who looks at Bill and Eric and picks Bill, you need your brain checked. But go ahead.
Seems like a nice guy.
Bill?
Kind of.
He's very whiny.
Yeah.
See, here's my problem is I hate the like brooding, self-loathing, like the Edward Cullens, the vampire Bills, like Angel from Buffy. Any of those vampires are like, I hate being a vampire. You don't want this. Oh, my life is
I will
awful.
give.
I hate
If
that.
it comes to True Blood, Russell is the one. Russell Edgington is the best one.
I met him.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be a lot of
What
fun.
a fabulous.
Actually, my
Go ahead.
favorite one in True Blood was the one that
Do you know
Milton
he almost
played.
didn't take that role because he knew it was something very different, and he was stepping outside of his comfort level.
Yeah.
And it was one of his friends that was like, you need to do this stuff. You need to step outside of your comfort level. And it was one of the best characters in the whole show.
And also, you get killed in like 2 episodes, so you're fine.
So good. And I remember when
Killed by Lizzie Kaplan, of all people.
I know. And I remember when the brother, Sookie Stackhouse's brother, Jason, is like, I thought all vampires were real like hot and sexy and stuff. And he's like, well, you are whatever you were when you got turned. And I led a sedentary life. That was such a good scene.
That was sad. You would want to hit the gym first. Like, hold on.
Yeah. So he said he had gone
Let me do Ozempic for a little bit before we do this.
He had gone to a vampire club and like all of the hot young men wanted vampires.
Yeah.
So he thought, well, if I become a vampire, they're all going to want me. But
you know, that's how good Subspecies 4 is. We're now talking about True Blood. Anyway.
Tangent.
Yeah.
Now Michelle is back with Radu.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's the whole like, will she, won't she go with him? And I guess, you know, now that her sister drove into a tree, there's no one really to like help her, really. Oh, Marin, we forgot. Marin is a vampire
Marin
randomly.
is a vampire, yeah.
They find him sleeping at his office. They're like, wake up. And he's like, sunlight.
Yeah.
But I love that he goes to sleep in a cemetery and they lock him in.
Yes.
Then they open it up and like Radu's there. He's like, I'm your master. He's like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that was...
Which they retcon. I think he just got killed in the last one. Then they added in a scene where I guess Radu gives him blood. I don't know.
His whole side quest is so good. I loved that character.
But they mentioned that they need to kill Radu. I think they use the sword, right? Yeah, they need to use the sword on him and drag him out into the daylight. Like we have to really kill him and make sure he's dead this time.
They chop his head off, then they take his head, they stick it on a spike on the gate outside in the cemetery, and then everybody leaves.
What do they do with his body? Do they burn his body or
something? Remember
okay.
The one, is it Serena?
I think
runs
so.
up and like spits on his body and then lights it on fire?
Yes.
Yes.
So they do everything they can to kill him.
Yes.
And I guess that makes Ash happy unless... This takes, I don't know when this takes.
Oh,
we're a little
talk
confused.
about that. Yeah.
But yeah, so Radu, as of now, is definitively dead. I don't know why.
So I wrote in my notes, I'm like, how are they bringing this MFer back?
I mean, I would be like, let's not leave him this time. Let's all wait around his body with guns and hammers to kill the subspecies.
Yeah.
Like, let's
I'd
all
wait till
really
there was nothing but skull.
Yeah.
Then I would bust the skull apart, put it in 4 different boxes, mail those boxes to the 4 corners of the earth. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Subspecies goes away. It was supposed to do, they were supposed to do a 5th one in 2000, but Full Moon was going under financial struggles at that time. And apparently, like we were talking, like Ted, Anders, and Denise were like just friends still.
Yeah, so Anders, Denise, and Ted Nicolau had stayed friends this whole time.
Well, they probably do like conventions and stuff.
And always said, we just want to do one more.
So Full Moon sort of rebounded. They have a streaming platform now.
Probably because people like us.
Probably because even though most of their stuff is free on Tubi and stuff, but they have a streaming platform unless you're real into Full Moon.
Yes.
And they greenlit 5, but it was like during COVID, so it got delayed.
Yeah.
So I can see them wanting this to push their streaming platform.
Sure.
Like, hey,
you can only get it on.
Yes, and maybe that's what it was at first.
Sure.
Now you can get it on Tubi and stuff. So yeah, they decided let's do a Subspecies 5 for all the people who vaguely remember Subspecies. Blood Rise. But yeah, they got the same people back to write it, and it's a prequel.
Yes.
And
we even said we're like the same theme,
the
same people, which when it started, I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah. When the theme music played, which, by the way, also drink every time they play the Subspecies theme.
I know,
music.
yeah.
Bum,
I'm so glad we watched it together. Yeah, that was, yeah.
Here we go. Ugh. The vampire Radu is back in director Ted Nicolau's epic prequel, Subspecies 5, Blood Rise. A dark thriller that follows Radu's descent from a noble warrior of the church to a depraved, blood-hungry creature of the night, stolen by the Crusaders on the night of his birth from his demon mother and vampire father. She went from being a witch, sorceress to demon, apparently. Radu grows up with no knowledge of his monstrous bloodline. Trained and exploited by a brotherhood of mystic monks to slay all enemies of the church, fate brings him back one night to his father's castle. Armed with the monster-slaying sword of Laertes, to destroy the vampire Vladislas and reclaim a holy relic, the Bloodstone. The horrifying events that unfold turn Radu from an honorable man into a vampire with no master, setting him on a centuries-long quest for sustenance, for companionship, for the treacherous one who stole him from the sun, and for the Bloodstone he hopes will bring him peace. Spoiler, it will not. Filmed in Serbia, in and around historic castles and ruins, and featuring original series star Denise Duff in a surprising role. This sensual, violent, and operatic exploration of evil marks a stunning return for one of the screens, the television screen, not big screen, most beloved bloodsuckers.
Operatic is an interesting descriptor for this.
Well, it's very operatic. What are you talking about? It's the most operatic thing I've ever fucking watched.
So, let's unpack this one.
Yeah, I didn't realize this was going to be a prequel.
Neither did I.
I read some stuff. I thought there were going to be flashbacks.
Yes.
From what I read, like the description, I was like, oh, that character comes back. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they'll probably flash back to his origin. I didn't think it was going to be a full-on prequel.
Yes.
But yeah, like we learn more about Radu here. We pretty much just read the plot summary. That was very descriptive backstory here. Yes. So here we go. We talk about the gaps in the subspecies lore.
So this is what I feel like happened.
Okay.
In the writer's room, they all got together. Drinks were had.
Yeah.
And they were like, here's all our big points. And we need to explain each one of these.
Yeah.
And tie them all together in a nice little bow. And our fans are going to be so happy.
I don't know. It's all checking out to me, Lena.
Not what happened.
But yeah, we literally open up to Cersei just shitting this baby out.
Yeah, that's not how babies are born. But yeah, similar.
I'm sure some people squat and shit them out.
Sure. Yeah.
And her makeup, I guess this is before she gets really fucked up. Her makeup's not as cool. She has both of her eyes. I do appreciate that. I think she loses one of her eyes later in the movie.
Yeah, so let's just start talking about inconsistencies out of the gate.
Okay.
So this movie spans roughly 500 to 600 years.
Yeah.
He changes. She does not.
Mm-hmm.
So how come she changes in the 200 years between the end of this and the beginning of the next one?
Well, I'm sure they would explain that in Subspecies 6.
Makes no sense.
They left room open for another prequel.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
So I always assumed he was born a vampire and the Bloodstone and him just being evil corrupted him to make him into a monster man.
Right.
And then you factor in the witch thing. But no, he was born a goblin guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the priests removed his fingertips and ears and put holy oil on him.
Massaged his face until he looked human.
Yes.
Yes.
And cured him. So now he's got vampire blood in him, but he's just a regular immortal witch boy disguised as a human.
Who grows old.
Yeah, I was going to say, then we get to see him fight as a young 70-year-old man. He is too old to be doing this. I don't even think people lived that long back then.
I do want to give props to him, though.
Yeah.
Because this was a physical role, and he took it on, and he gave it 1,000%.
Yeah. It is nice to see. I think he has like a cameo in some of them, or at least one as him out of the makeup.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, he's out of the makeup for a lot of this movie.
Yep.
But yeah, we see that he's fighting with the knights and everything, but he goes to Vladisla's castle where the witch is there. Now, it seems like Vladislas and Cersei are like cool with each other, but everything we've learned before, it was like an agreement.
So this is another inconsistency.
Yeah.
Because in the first one, we're told that Cersei put a spell on the Vampire King to become impregnated specifically to create this creature.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the second one or the third one, we hear Vladislas went into the castle, which was owned by Cersei and her whole family. And then he essentially sexually assaults Cersei.
Yeah.
And now in this one, she gives birth. She's going to kill the baby when the knights show up because Radu is prophesied to kill his father.
Yeah.
So she's going to kill him, but the knights show up, take the demon dagger, save the baby. And then when we see her again,
she had the baby just to kill him?
She's like rocking out with Vladislas while he's killing somebody. So I'm like, I mean, all for like, figure your shit out, co-parent, be nice to each other. But this is just so inconsistent. And Vladislas looks so different.
He looks like Nosferatu.
Yes.
It's funny enough, Anders Hove looks more like Angus did.
Yes.
But I guess since he had a very obvious wig in the first movie, you could just assume if at some point he will get a wig. And maybe
but the wig is not going to cover up his Nosferatu face.
Yeah, I guess he can morph his face a little bit. Sure. I guess. Okay. Oh, we did see in Vampire Journals they could kind of change their face. So, yeah.
That's true.
So no continuity error. There you go.
Okay. It's your channel.
But yeah, then he finds Stefan with his mother.
Yeah,
his
so he's
human
told
mother.
by Cersei. He's told by Cersei, you're my stolen baby.
Yeah.
You actually are half demon witch, half vampire.
And that guy you just tried to kill is your dad.
Is this true? And he accepts it very quickly.
Yes.
And then goes down into the dungeon and finds a woman who is human who has been assaulted by Vladislas. And out of this assault came Stefan.
Yes.
And Radu's like, we have to save them because this is my half brother. Again, he comes to terms with this very quickly.
He's like, yep, all on board.
Yes.
All on board.
Yes. Yeah.
And she has the Bloodstone, right?
She has the Bloodstone.
Yes.
Because he took it from them before Vladislas left.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he like goes out with them, and then his partner is just like, I don't like any of this vampire stuff. I'm out. So he leaves. But yeah, so he's trying to protect them, and she's like, my savior, my lord. But she seduces him. Turns out she's a vampire. Yep. She's been turned into a vampire.
Yes. And because she's in a cave.
Yeah.
And they pull the cloak off and
after 20-something years, she still got it.
I can't stand it.
She still got it, Lena.
I can't stand the reaction to the sun. I can't.
So yeah, it's so So he started off as a half vampire witch boy
who was a knight for the Holy Realm,
who was turned into a human, and then she returns him back into a vampire.
So she feeds on him and gives him her blood. So we have a classic embrace situation.
Yes.
And now he is a vampire.
And then the dad comes back because someone has to turn Stefan into a vampire years later.
Takes her and Stefan and leaves Radu, who's a fledgling, out in the middle of nowhere to die.
Mm-hmm. And then he asks his friend for help to kill him, but then Cersei kills the guy. And then, so again, the witch boy who got rid of his witch powers now learns all the witch powers. He lives with her for a few hundred years.
Which includes conjuring demons.
Why? If you're going to bring subspecies back, why are there no subspecies?
But there's shadow play on the wall.
You couldn't get a digital subspecies?
Especially now. It should be cheap and easy.
You could have gotten someone to make a CGI subspecies. Someone probably would have done it for free, to be honest. And it didn't even need to look that good. The only thing he goes, I learned to summon demons, and we just see shadows of them on the cave wall.
He's in the cave, and he's like, and then we just see shadows on the wall.
And I'm like, those are our subspecies?
And I swear the shadows on the wall are just like one of the poor production assistants, like.
There you go.
Yeah.
It should have just been called Radu Rises or something like that. The Rise of Radu. He learns how to turn into a shadow and fly around. Summon electricity and stuff. He learns that he is immortal. His immortality is not tied to the vampirism.
If he could if he can draw lightning, why didn't he use that in all of the previous? Why? If I could call lightning, don't you think I would use that?
Maybe it scares him too much. He's like,
I don't know.
Lightning. So yeah, he goes throughout the centuries, but he needs some fletchlings.
Yeah, the thing that we keep going back to is Radu's loneliness.
Yes.
And he keeps thinking about Helena.
Male vampire loneliness is real.
Male vampire loneliness epidemic.
It's real, Lena. You women have taken everything from us. Oh, God. Sorry. I'm Team Radu now. Radu.
The male vampire loneliness epidemic is also in Transylvania.
Yes.
And so he keeps dreaming of Helena, who is the mortal woman that his dad took.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't be alone anymore.
And so he stumbles upon a band. A brother and sister band.
Yes.
And he tries to tempt them later. They're like, we're playing for the prince. Like, yeah, I'm your ride. And they're like, no, you're not. He's like, okay, well.
I'm your Uber.
Yeah, he's like, I can teach you about the mysteries.
Yes.
All the powers are referred to as mysteries. But no, I like that he's just like, what do you want? Oh, I want this forever. And then the guy goes, and I missed his name when we were watching it. And he's like, I want my music to be eternal. And I'm like, oh, is that Ash? I'm like, really? We're working Ash into this?
Here's me sitting on the couch just waiting for it to click. You're like, wait a second, is that Ash?
They worked in the fucking prequel, the spin-off bad guy.
That's what I'm saying. So they had a list of things that they needed to tie in.
We could have just assumed he did all that.
And they were like,
I could have had a line where he's like, yeah, I opened up a brothel. I got a guy running it. That's all I needed for Ash. I didn't need to actually see Ash.
They took every square peg and jammed it into every circle hole they could.
But now we learned that Ash, the music lover, loves music because vampirism took away his ability to play music. Yes.
Because he said, without a soul, there is no music, which is deep. That's deep. Yes.
And at some point, Radu was like, okay, you guys got this figured out. I'm going to let you guys go and hang out.
No. So he breaks them like wild stallions.
Yes.
By leaving them in the dungeon with no food.
Yeah.
So he brings the girl back. They finally feed. They start to kind of accept that they're vampires. But then she blows on the flute and hurts his ears. So he leaves again. Finally, they cave. He starts to teach them the mysteries.
Yeah.
And now they learn how to shadow fly. And then one night there's a big blowout. And so they take the Bloodstone and take off and leave him.
Yes.
So he looks for them for 300 or 500
That's
years.
right. That's right. I mixed it up with something else. Yes. You're right.
500 years. So this movie is 800 years.
Well, he mentions he's 1,000 years old in one of them. So
right. So the Crusades are anywhere between 1100 and 1200.
Yeah.
Right. So by the time we meet up at this end piece, it's been like 600-700 years. Okay.
And he looks by the end of the movie, he starts to look like the Radu we know.
The one that we know and love.
And his hair is getting darker. His hair goes from white to dark. His fingers are bigger now. They're not as wobbly.
I will say the way that he got the mannerisms back, everything, like the way that he just...
One part where he's just licking the girl just while they're having a conversation was so funny.
That's what I said. I'm like, that's an acting choice.
Just a reminder. I read that he was mostly retired. He came out of retirement.
It got under my skin for sure. Like they're talking, she's talking back, and he's just like, oh my gosh. As the actress, imagine, like, I hope that was planned. Because
I think they might have talked about it ahead of time.
So he tracks them down after 500 years. And they're living in Bucharest. And they are living with the vampire queen.
Yes. And so you're like, who is this vampire queen?
Yes. Take me to her because she has the Bloodstone. So they go down into the city.
Oh, wait.
Oh, we forgot about.
We missed one part.
Yeah.
He steals some jewelry from his mother, which I think they mentioned in the other one. She's like, how dare you steal from me? Get out of here, and I never want to see you until the second movie. And then that's how they wrap that up.
In the second movie, when she's like, I have forbidden you from ever showing your face to me again. That's all. It was just a necklace.
It's also been 700 years since she acts like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, and the other thing is...
Didn't I just tell you? And she'd be like, no.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. Lots happened since then.
And so the other thing we missed was a vampire hunter shows up in his lair named Diana. And she is supposed to be like a demigod. So now the Greek gods have entered the chat.
Really, in your fifth entry, which is a prequel, you just want to introduce Greek gods.
So they feed from her, and then to punish her for coming into the lair and trying to kill him, he turns her and leaves her locked in the dungeon to starve and go crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, 500 years later, he goes into the city under the city. And the vampire queen is... Oh, we find out that the music that we're hearing is a brothel and casino above us. And the vampire queen is Helena.
And he's like, oh, yay, the girl I like.
He's like, do you not remember me?
And she's like, no, you look like a crazy rat man. Who are you? He's like, it's me, Radu.
Meanwhile, we forgot...
The handsome?
We forgot before Vladislav steals her back. Yeah. She's like, don't you ever leave me. You are my lover. You are my everything. You are my lord. You are my savior. And I was like, wow.
Well, she was just turned into a vampire.
Now we know where he gets the like obsessive hold on the things.
Yeah.
So she's like, do I know you?
Yeah. She's like, oh, right, Radu. Yeah, my friend, my son Stefan's over in America. Studying.
Yeah, Vladislav's let him grow to a man and then fed him the blood and stole him away from the sun. He's in America studying the sciences.
Yes. And she's like, oh, your dad, he was getting sad. So I put the Sword of Laertes in him and now he's just chilling in the basement.
Yep.
And then what's his face? He gets Ariel, right?
Ash's sister, who
Ash's sister. To bring him downstairs.
Yes.
To look at his dad. He doesn't kill his dad here because that would break continuity. Instead, he pulls the sword out and just goes, hi, Dad, it's me. And then stabs him and then puts back in to make him go back to bed.
Like 12 times. So, like we said, mommy issues and daddy issues.
Yeah.
A lot of issues.
Yeah. But yeah, then what happens here? So like everyone's kind of like after each other at this point.
Yeah, so Radu goes back up and Helena says, like, I'll give you a drink from the Bloodstone. He drinks from the Bloodstone.
It's the first time he's drank it in like 500 years.
High and loopy and drunk, and she's like, I want Ash. And he goes, but I love you. I want to be with you. I want to be your consort. And she's like, you disgust me. You smell like the grave. Your face makes me want to vomit. So they negotiate.
And he's like, this is kind of your fault. That's what he should say.
Yeah. So they negotiate, and they all... So Radu and Helena go back into the room where Ash and Ariel are, and they're like, your master says I can have you. And there's a big showdown. Ariel is not down with it. Ash, not too happy about it either. And there's a big showdown, and
Radu... Speaking of True Blood, he turns his master's head all the way around.
Multiple times.
Multiple times.
Until we see vertebra sticking out.
And that kills her?
And she says...
And I scream, fuck off at the screen.
I'm
going to curse
everybody.
you. My bloodline or whatever will come back.
My spirit will return and torment you till the grave. And then we see flashes of Michelle from the movies. Because what we didn't say was Helena is played by Denise Duff, the same actress.
Yes.
So the implication is that Michelle from 1, 2, and 3, and 4, because we're going to pretend that she was the same actress in 1.
Yeah.
Is her reincarnated spirit come back to torment Radu. And that's why he's so obsessed with her.
Yeah. And then it ends. Ash takes the Bloodstone.
And takes off.
And then Ariel helps Radu. And he's like, you know what, lady?
I actually love you.
I love you at this moment. I decided right now you're the girl I'm currently into.
I love the one next to me.
Yeah, pretty much. You can't be with the one you love because you spun their head around.
Love the one you're with. Yeah.
He's like, I release you. Go and do your own thing. Have a long life. And then
She's
the
like,
vampire hunter is like,
wait. She
hey.
goes, I don't want to be your fledgling. I want to be your consort and be with you forever. And he gets this goofy simp
He's
smile.
like, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then Diana, the one that he turned.
And she's like, I'm back. I'm a vampire slayer. It's got a different meaning now. I'm a slayer, but I'm also a vampire.
Yes.
You get it?
Yes.
And he's like, I'm going to shoot you. And he's like, you can't kill me. And then Ariel, for whatever reason, is like, oh, you can't be killed? Let me jump in the way of this crossbow. I was like, why did you do that? Mm-hmm. Are you an idiot?
So she kills Ariel. She sees how it affects Radu and is like, actually, watching you suffer is better than killing you. So I'm going to go down there, kill every vampire who's down there.
Except for your dad.
Be gone when I come back out.
Yes.
He said, I vowed that night to never return to this place.
Until part 4. So they did leave room for a sequel because Vladislav needs to get out of that tomb before he gets killed. Ash and Radu need to reconcile at some point.
At some point.
He needs to get the Bloodstone back. The Sword of Laertes needs to get stolen and whatnot. So there is room for a sequel. A sequel to the prequel. There's room for it.
So I think the actual issue is that nobody ever expected 2 people to sit down on YouTube and tear this whole timeline apart.
We're doing it.
Because
we're doing it.
Here is the issue. 1, we see Vladislav in the first movie be killed by Radu.
Yeah.
And he has the Bloodstone.
Yeah.
And Radu has the Demon Dagger. So how did all that happen? So somehow
we gotta find out.
Ash
must have made a deal with them. Yeah. Maybe Ash went and got the king out.
Maybe Ash went and took the sword, which is how he ended up with it.
Yeah.
And then the king got up and was like, you know what? I'm just going to go home. And then he goes back to the castle.
I assume Ash would have to be the one to save.
But again, here's the problem I brought up, right? In the first one, the Bloodstone is stolen from the Vatican and given to the king of vampires. And that would have happened after 1460 when the fort was assaulted by the Turks.
Yeah. Well, maybe he had it to begin with, and then at some point...
he took it to the Pope?
And someone took it to the Pope, and then they got it back.
Oh, okay. So there's problem number 1.
Yeah.
Problem number 2 is that... so the vampire journals, Zachary comes to kill Ash and has the Sword of Laertes.
Yeah.
And Ash says, that was stolen from me 600 years ago. And Zachary's like, yeah, I killed my maker with it, and now I'm coming to kill you. So Ash gets it back from Zachary.
Yeah.
But then Ash dies at the end of Vampire Journals. But then Ash shows up in 4 with the Sword of Laertes, which would have happened after Vampire Journals because now he has the sword back.
Well, again, we need a 6th and 7th one to fill in those gaps, Lena.
We need interquels. We need sequels, prequels.
How did this one do? Are we back? Are we all? I'll help you out, Ted. Hit me up. We'll make sense of this.
Write it.
Now, you know what I want in the next one? Subspecies. It would be nice to have them back. You know.
Was that your favorite part? The little guys.
Not my favorite part, but it's like they got to be there somewhere. Why do you keep forgetting them? Like, what the fuck?
What I'm hoping is that full moon will see this drop. We'll see us that we ordered the t-shirts.
We did.
That we ordered cards.
We did.
Which we're going to open on
Patreon. We're going to open
on Patreon. We're going to open our full moon subspecies cards from the 90s. They're going to see that I ordered a Radu lunchbox. And they're going to be like, people want this. And then they're going to do the next one.
These are all 1991. So these are just for the first movie. That's going to be fun.
I really hope they allow me to sit down and write the next one because I will fix all the continuity errors. You need my help, Full Moon.
But yeah, so we've made it to the end.
Yes.
All 5 mainline subspecies movies. Again, we will talk about Vampire Journals on Lena's channel. And whatever the name of the other one is, at some point in the future, we'll revisit that. We'll visit that one. Maybe we'll watch that later. We'll throw that on, see what that one's like.
Down. Right.
But what is the worst subspecies movie?
So I would like to start this out by saying I'm so excited to be on this channel doing a What's the Worst because I've watched all of them and I'm like,
this is your first
now
one.
It's my turn.
Okay.
This is an honor. It's a big decision.
Yeah.
And I'm also judging one of my favorite vampire series of all times.
Yeah.
I understand
You're the only one who will ever have a struggle with this.
I understand that it is flawed. I like to think that you're taking this as seriously as I am. So up until a few days ago, I would have said 4. Like, I wouldn't have even paused. 4.
Okay.
4 went off the rails. There's so many holes in the plot. It's all over the place. I do think that Dr. Blood almost saves it a little bit because he's like so over the top and I'm so interested in what the heck he's doing. But I would have said 4 was easily like, it was so off the rails.
Okay.
Then we watched 5. And then we watched 5.
Yeah.
So one of the things I say on my channel all the time is I have seen bad, I've seen good, I've seen zany, I've seen artsy. The worst thing you can be is boring.
Okay.
And this was boring. I thought it was dry. I thought other than Anders Hove and even Denise stuff, that the rest of the acting felt phoned in. It didn't have the charm that the other 4 have.
Yeah.
There's something about the first 4 that's so charming. It knows what it is. It knows what it wants to be. It works within its limitations. It's silly at times. You know what I mean? And like we forgot to mention, one of the things I forgot about until I rewatched this was how in the 90s, they would use like indie bands. And there would just be like a scene with an indie band. And that's how the band got featured. And we saw it in like Charmed and Buffy and all this stuff. And then the indie band would use that as their like music video. It was a whole thing in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was fun. I loved revisiting that. 5 just lost the magic that is the subspecies.
Okay.
Silence her, Radu.
Okay. I'm going to check out the remaster. So if I change my mind, I'll insert it here. But for me, it's 4.
Okay.
It's 4 just, again, I'm hoping I just watched a bad transfer that's on Amazon. But it just looks bad. And also, it's like, it felt like it was just a little too much after 3. Because like the 1, 2, and 3, great.
Yeah.
3 is probably my favorite, honestly, with the whole CIA guy witch thing. Even if it's not the best Radu one, 3 is just really, really fun. I hate the beginning. I usually don't care when they kill characters off from the beginning because I love Alien 3. But this was just so lazy. This was so lazy. I just wasn't invested in the story. The Dr. Blood is interesting, but the actor is weird. And then forcing in all the Vampire Journal stuff. I did not enjoy. 5, for whatever it is, I mean, it's better than I thought a prequel to Radu would be, to be honest. I wasn't as bored with it as you were.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't hate 5. It's definitely one of the bad ones. After 4 for me. It's at the bottom after 4. But yeah, no, 4 is the worst for me. Unless I see a better looking version of the movie, maybe I'll give it some extra points.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think Marin saved 4 for me.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are the standouts, I think, though. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 and 3. The Witch, so good.
Steals the show.
So good.
Maybe that's why I like 5, even though it didn't look like the Witch. I'm like, at least she's back. That's the part with 4. Hey, and 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in subspecies. 4 started the whole like, hey, let's not have the subspecies in
Do people even miss it? Tony does.
You just need one. You just need one scene with the subspecies
Yeah.
on screen. Not shadow puppets. Not shadow puppets. Oh my God. Anyway, so you're saying 5, I'm saying 4.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments.
If you even know what the heck
Yeah,
we're
let us know in the
talking about.
comments. Do you know what the hell we're talking about? If you're not a patron or channel member, these are the type of movies I talk about on Patreon and for channel members. More schlocky stuff like this.
Yes.
But if you are a fan of this series, or at least you've seen it, or maybe you walked past the boxes in Blockbuster.
Or if you're very curious, go to my channel because I am going to talk about each one.
She's going to go more into detail of them.
Try and explain it to you in a way that maybe is understandable.
They are all free on Tubi. The fourth one is free on Amazon. You can binge them in a day. Even the other spinoffs are on Tubi if you want to check it out. But let us know what you think is the worst one. Let us know. Lena, where can we find you? Where is that channel?
I am the Beautiful Dead podcast on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok.
I mean, criticism on the name. I feel like you're excluding non-beautiful dead like Radu.
I feel like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And there are moments where I would party with Radu.
Okay, never mind. Never
Give me a
mind.
drink of that Bloodstone. I'll hang.
You're into Radu. You're into Radu.
I didn't. Don't take it that far. But
guys out there, if you have like a big overbite and long fingernails, hit Lena.
Listen. He would have been fine until he looked at me and was like, "Bow to me, be with me forever," and the drool. And I was like, "Whoa,
who's hotter, Radu or Bill Skarsgård Orlok?"
I would hang with Radu.
Radu looks like he'd be more fun to hang out with. Yeah.
I think Bill
Radu can be jokey at times.
There's a couple times he's
Orlok
kind of
not so much.
Yeah,
not so much.
Radu's problem is that he just gets way too intense, way too fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let it start as a friendship. Let it like blossom. No, you want to go right into immortal, eternal loyalty where I call you master. And no, that is too much. And you drool a lot. Get that checked.
He's got big teeth.
Yes, he does.
But yeah, check those films out. Check out Lena's channel. Like, share, subscribe, join the Patreon. Speaking of vampire stuff, I hope at this point I've gotten back to doing Blade Boys.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes we go like months between Blade Boys episodes, and then we watch the episodes and we watch Blade, the TV series. We go, wow, this really sucks. But we have to finish it. We're like halfway through. We gotta finish Blade, the TV series.
And I think that new Blade might be dead in the water.
Yeah. I feel like it died a while ago and they've just been too nice to say it.
Yeah.
But yeah, check all that out and we'll talk to you all later. Goodbye. Woo!
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.